on how to release blocks so you can attract the man that wants to spoil you and marry you. So I'm going to assume that you guys can hear us.
Yeah, let us know if you can hear us. Thumbs up,
Yes.
smile, something so we can know.
Yes. And if you are watching this, you got to go watch our part 1 because we were on fire. We were talking about one of our girls that just got engaged in our community. We're talking about your starting point to attract the men that want to marry you and spoil you. Yes. Dina's saying yes. Can you hear us?
Yes.
And the weird thing is we didn't touch anything. So I don't know why it did that. I think you're just meant to hear this message. Yes, we can hear you.
Great.
Okay. I think you're just meant to hear this message. So if you're just scrolling right now and you stopped and you don't know what the heck we're talking about, you are meant to hear this message. And if part 1 was really resonating with you, and, you know, sometimes there's some resistance that tries to stop getting this message out because it's going to change your life and generations. So we just come against that. And we are just so grateful that for our community and for your girls' persistence in hearing this message, because you're definitely meant to hear it. Can you let us know in the comments the last thing you heard us say? Because I was like on a roll.
I know. I know. And then any questions as well that you may have that relate to you, because a lot of this stuff we see our ladies in the community. This is specifically what challenges they deal with. But the good thing about it is once they get healed from it, just like this year, we've had, I believe, 6, 7, 8 engagements. We've had a marriage, and things are just continuing to pick up. These are the ladies that are doing the work and are sticking to it, making decisions and moving forward.
Okay, perfect. We're good.
Yes.
Let us know in the comments the last thing you heard us say, please. Men want to marry me. That's all I heard. That's right, girl. That's all she heard is men want to marry you. Masculine energy men. Okay, so really quick to summarize, we were basically talking about how you as a woman, you need to heal in order for your energy to be soft so that you can, and detached. You need to be completely detached in order to clear space for your husband to energetically, spiritually even be able to see you. Like that is your starting point. You're also deciding every single day. Now I remember what I was talking about. You have to energetically decide every day your new identity and reality. So literally what I tell our girls is when they come into the Feminine Energy Academy is brainwash yourself. Or even if you're new to our YouTube channel, brainwash yourself. Like literally binge watch our videos and our live stream, because what it's going to do is going to literally rewire your brain and your thinking process. And naturally what will happen is you will start to believe that this is your reality, you know, your dream life.
Yes. No, go ahead. I'm just definitely agreeing. I know it was a couple of questions I wanted to go over. We went over one of the questions.
Yes, let's go over some other ones.
Someone was asking, what does healing mean? You gave that answer for that. You have to check out part 1 for that. Another question that we had, a lady said, and this is Earth 25.
Okay.
My problem is people wanting to get into a relationship too fast. Can you talk about intentionally slowing? Intentionally.
Yeah.
I'm thinking international.
Yeah, because we help ladies with international dating. That's where your mind is.
Intentionally slowing down dating as a marriage-minded person.
Yes. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And this is the thing with that. The fact that you're getting a lot of attention is great. One thing you have to know about the masculine is when we see something that we want, we go after it. So when you're talking about slowing down the process, we don't slow down necessarily, okay, we're going to take time, because we know, and think about hunting, think about being out there in the wild, we know that somebody else is coming. So if we decide to just slow down and let someone else, you know, we're thinking in our mind, we're letting someone else get an opportunity. So if we're into you, we see marriage in our future, and we see it all the time. We see it in the community. 3 to 6 months, men are going to want to marry you. Men may know within 90 days that they want to marry you. So slowing down us coming after you isn't something that most men naturally are able to do. Now, the process of getting to know you, whatever pace that goes at, we're open to that, but we're not going to intentionally slow down getting to know you or wanting to potentially marry you just because you're uncomfortable with it. I think part of that is really you as the woman, getting healing, understanding the healthy man, understanding how he thinks, and knowing that he's not rushing into it because he doesn't want to be with you. And when I say rushing into it, he's not moving forward. He's not calling you, trying to see you, coming to visit you, trying to connect with you just because you're someone that's cool. He wants to be with you, and sometimes the masculine can't control the fact that we want to move faster. Because trust me, if he doesn't like you, you're going to wonder why he's going so slow.
So now you're like, okay, well, what do I do then? Right? That's what you're asking. So this is, now you understand this is how healthy men think that want to pursue you, but how do you respond as the feminine? Well, the first thing is you show appreciation. Okay. So you're still in your receiving energy of like, of course men want to be with me. Of course they want to get into a relationship with me. Of course they do. Of course they want to marry me. Make sure that you're staying in that energy versus like, oh, this is so hard. Dating's so hard. It's so overwhelming. There's just so many men and I can't handle it. And then you shut down. Okay. So we're not going to do that. So you're showing appreciation to receive. Then you implement your boundaries, okay? And so your boundaries, and you're doing this in the soft feminine way. You're not doing this in the triggered, wounded, guarded, combative way, okay? So the soft feminine way, because men are going to test this. They're going to ask to be your girlfriend.
Yes.
They're going to want to be in a situationship with you, whatever, right? So you make it clear right from the beginning. Right? I'm not talking about like the first time you talk to this guy. I'm talking about when, you're getting to know each other, he's catching feelings. You can tell as a woman, you can just tell, right? He's enjoying being in your presence. You're just warm and light and so unattached. And, he's asking you more questions. And then you're just like, yeah, I'm dating for marriage. And then he's like, I would love for you to be my girlfriend. And you're like, I'm nobody's girlfriend. So I've already decided that I'm dating for marriage. So I'm saving myself for my husband. And then he's gonna be like, what are you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, at this point in my life, I don't want to waste my time. And so I want to save myself for my husband. I'm going to keep dating. Doesn't mean I'm sleeping with anybody, but I'm going to continue going on coffee dates, on dinner dates until the right man is ready to date me for marriage or to get engaged for marriage. And then he might be like, oh, but I want to marry you. But you're the one. I've never met anyone like you, right? Of course, they always say that. And then you're like, okay, that's great. Well, and then you tell them what your requirement is. So for example, if they're serious. So for example, with us, when he showed up in my country and was like, I don't want you dating anybody else. I want to marry you. I was like, oh, okay, done. I'm your girlfriend now. No, I never once called myself his girlfriend, ever. I'm nobody's girlfriend. And what I said to him was like, okay, that's great. So what's your timeline? And then he was like, I see us getting engaged and married. And married, not just engaged.
Right, because the engagement is a placeholder in a lot of cases.
Yep. Married within 6 to 12 months. And in my mind, I was like, okay, I can work with that because I knew that we would need to really help the kids with the whole transition process. So I figured 6 to 12 months was a good time frame for that. And we were engaged 8 months later and married 3 months later after that. So
yes, and that's the good thing too. When we talk about this off and off camera, is those follow-up statements and questions are key. Because men will say things, and a lot of times when men say things, it's not always understood what we're saying. We don't always communicate in a clear way, or we don't get as detailed in our communication. So we may say, yeah, I want to marry you. No details. We won't say when, anything. We'll just say it because all of it is in part a test as well to see if that's enough. To see if, okay, we said a little bit, is that enough? So when you have follow-up questions or ask for more details in it, then you understand. So when I said I saw us getting married and I ended up giving a time frame, the follow-up questions gave her the security of, okay, this is potentially something that I can go all in on at a certain time as well. But without those follow-up questions or details, she would have been left to, well, he said he wants to marry me, or he said we were going to do this, but it never happens. It'll be years later, and you still have that engagement ring, but no marriage, no paperwork, and you're just sitting there wondering, what did I do wrong?
Exactly. And perfect example, our situation, right? Like he was with someone for 5 years, right? And not married.
Yes.
And also with a recent girl that in our community that just got engaged last week, did everything we told her to do, like from the dating app to optimizing her dating profile to the scripting, meditations, the audios that I have in my community in the Feminine Energy Academy, to even just getting coaching on how to talk to him,
Yes.
right? Because women can get triggered with certain stuff and like what to say, stuff like that. All of that was in there. But anyway, even in her situation, she had to let go of her previous relationship in order to clear space for this to happen. And because she was so in alignment with getting married, like exactly how I was, not attached to the man,
Yes.
but attached to this is what I want in a husband and a father, because she was a single mom as well, like me. This is what I'm looking for in a husband and a father. You're not sleeping with the guy. You're not emotionally attached to the guy. You are purely dating based on compatibility, which is like seems so foreign to so
Yes.
many women, but that's actually how we were meant to date for marriage, right? And some cultures still do that. That's why they have long-lasting marriages. But anyway, so dating purely based on compatibility and the right man that was willing to show up and get married right away. And she was, she got engaged in 2 months
And no
to a
man,
provider man.
Yes.
Yeah.
No man wants to hear that you're rotationally dating
Yeah.
or that you're connected to your husband. It's not necessarily them. But in this instinct, especially if you've been dating him for a while, you've been around him, maybe it was a situationship, whatever it is, you have to concern yourself with you, because
Yeah.
our feelings will get hurt. We'll never say it, but our feelings will get hurt. We'll be upset because what do you mean your husband? I'm the one you're with, but for you. Because if she would have told me that, I would have been tripping like, wait a minute, what do
Yeah.
you mean? But it's healthy for you because it's allowing you to detach from that person, especially if you've slept with them, you have a long time connection with them. It's so easy to feel what they feel and to go in that direction because you don't want to hurt their feelings. But trust me, this works all the time. And if he's meant for you, then he'll understand and he'll make the adjustments to show that he wants you to be his wife instead of just making you feel like you're the one that did something wrong because you let him know that you're in this for the right reasons.
That's so good. And speaking of that, because a lot of women are like, well, how do I communicate my needs? How do I hold my boundaries? All this stuff, or he's not doing this. This Saturday, we're actually doing a masterclass called Natural Consequences, how to have natural consequences with men and even with other people in your life. So kids, family, friends, whatever. And natural consequences is basically like, this is my boundary and standard. And if that person doesn't follow through on that, you're not mad, you're not triggered.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, honey. You're not mad, you're not triggered, but there's a natural consequence that comes with that, right? And so we'll talk about that more on Saturday and like how to communicate that, because communicating is everything when it comes to dating for marriage. And that is a skill that a lot of women they just don't have. So we're gonna be talking about that on Saturday in the Feminine Energy Academy. And that's part of like the whole rotational dating. That's part of, your timeline of when you want to get married and how you're communicating that to the masculine. And even I'll give one more example and then we'll get to this other question, where even though my husband, we weren't engaged yet, he moved countries, we were courting for marriage. I was planning on moving to the US even before we got married, even before we got engaged in marriage. And I remember specifically saying, okay, like I was talking about the house I was going to live in. And I never said us.
Right.
Because we weren't engaged
I don't
yet.
know what was wrong with that.
Right? I was talking about the house. I was talking about the kids' school. Like I was still making plans for the kids and I wasn't including him in those plans, because it's the man's job to include you in the plans. So ladies, this is another thing that can stop you from really progressing forward with the right man that wants to marry you and provide for you, is you're coming up with like you're already his wife in your mind, like you're acting like it, you're moving in with him, you're sleeping with him. Now he has no reason to step up into marriage with you. But in our situation, as soon as I just mentioned moving to the US, getting a house, because he knew my boundary and standard was I'm not living with anyone until I'm married, not even engaged, married. And so he knew that, and he respected it as a man of God should, right? And I think like literally after that conversation, he's like, okay, we need to talk about marriage. And then I think it was like the next month we were engaged.
And
So
yeah, and at the time, the city she
Yeah.
was talking about moving to, I wasn't living in it.
yeah.
I was living in Chicago. So I'm like, okay, we have to work some numbers over here, make this thing happen. So
I knew he wanted it.
Yes.
And like we obviously had talked about living there and being
Yes.
married. So it wasn't like he was thrown off.
no, not at all. I
But-
was planning on
Yeah.
living here at some point anyway.
Yeah, and like you were planning on, getting engaged and all that
Yes,
stuff.
of course.
But you as a woman, you have to hold your boundaries. You have to, and you do it with a smile on your face.
Yes.
You're doing it, you're happy, you're cheerful, you're just like living your best life, right? He's not your source of happiness.
Yes.
And then that's when they want to marry you.
So that takes us right into the next question. And
Yep.
those of you that have been on our page for a while, long-term subscribers, you know this story, but we'll answer it again for you all. I said, tell us why you guys broke up. Mm-hmm. Why did it take 6 months to reach back out? Were you not worried someone might snatch her up?
And this person commented on 3 of our videos
Yes.
the same question. So they
Yes.
really want to know just the story of why we detached,
Yes.
why we didn't break up because we weren't
Right,
actually
there's nothing
together,
to break up from.
but why it happened and were you worried
So-
about guys snatching me?
So first, when we first started talking, we met online internationally. We were
Yep.
talking. Things were going so great. It felt like we had known each other forever. But what happened was I was more comfortable in it. So I wasn't really making moves to come see her. I wasn't planning stuff out. And she knew she had done the work. She was ready to get married. So she made a decision after us talking for a couple months. We had met up as well. So that helped once we met up. But she made a decision to just move on. Like, okay, this doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So let me position myself so I can get married and so she can get her husband. So at that time we were talking and she made that decision. So I didn't fight the decision or anything like that because I was still doing a lot of stuff. I was in a new city. It was just a lot going on. So mentally, I wasn't ready to move forward, and I understood that. So we just kind of went our separate way, didn't talk. And it wasn't like we had a timeline or anything like that. Time just kept going. And for me, and men can relate to this, especially those that are married now, it was a connection that we had, and her being in my life helped so much that I started to miss it. So randomly, I reached out to her, and I had done some work. I had gotten some things in order in my life. I was in a better place because I knew coming back to her that I couldn't come back the same person. I had to come back with some definite stuff like, okay, this is what we're doing. I had to come back with a plan. So I was more prepared this time. So when I came back and reached out to her, the day before, she had just deleted my pictures and all my phone numbers and everything connected to me, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
So when I reached out to her, we talked, and it was more having the conversation of, okay, what's next? What's the process? Instead of just her just coming with open arms like, I miss you, I'm so glad you called. It was none of that. It was more me telling her where I was at, where I saw us going, and I wanted to pursue a marriage with her. So once I said that to her, then timelines started going. She was telling me she was going to start dating for marriage by September. She was going to, be married in a certain time, and I was just listening. So I actually ended up coming up there right as soon as she said she was going to start dating for marriage. I arrived at her door at the airport the day of. So you can kind of break down a little more of it as well.
Yes. And so part of it is, we're all on a healing journey, right?
Yes.
And so we need to give ourselves space to do that. The most important thing that I want you girls to catch, and anyone that's listening, is just detaching. And detaching means like you're totally letting go of the outcome. Yes, there is a possibility that somebody else can come to the picture. There was a possibility that he could have found other women or another woman. And great. And that's what I thought was like, okay, then he's not meant for you.
Nothing lost.
Right? It's a win-win situation. And it's different when you detach and you surrender everything to God. Because if this person is meant for you, and I'll give you some examples in a second, if this person is truly meant for you and you do your part, you do the inner work, you can let go. You should never be attached to anybody. No one should ever be on the pedestal but God. That's what God calls idolatry, right? So when you totally detach, totally surrender, let it go to God, and anything, man, job, car, whatever, what will naturally happen is if it's meant for you, it will find you. And so in our situation, even though things were perfect between us, like literally he was everything I wanted, we had a great connection, but he wasn't stepping up. And I held my boundary of I'm not going to have phone calls with him. Even though I enjoyed it, I knew he got a lot out of our nightly phone calls, right? But he wasn't stepping up. So I'm like, I'm not going to give my energy. I didn't say this to him, but I'm talking to you ladies. I'm not going to give my feminine energy to a man that's not claiming me to be his wife, right? I'm going to save that for myself, for my business, for my kids, and the right man that claims me to be his wife, I will give my energy to him. Now, once that happened, I actually stopped dating completely because I realized that I'm still attracting a man that's not ready to fully step up. So instead of getting mad at the men, I'm going inward and like, okay, what do I need to do? And I realized at that time I needed to do more inner healing. So I spent more time with God. I worked on nervous system re-regulating. I really just started learning more about what I wanted. I took that time to really prepare my kids. I realized the mental block that I had, that a lot of women have, was, my life isn't perfect. My kids are not perfect. What are they, what's this guy gonna think? When you have these stories floating around in your head, we're like, what's the guy gonna think? Who's gonna wanna date a single mom? Are my kids ready? Are they gonna hate him? Those stories actually block your husband. That's when you start attracting men that don't fully show up for you. So that was kind of the work I was doing for a few months. And I even got rebaptized and like totally surrendered to God. And it's so funny because like once I totally surrendered everything to God, did my inner work, that's when he reached out and called me. So the reason I'm telling you this, ladies, is you're never ever waiting around for a guy. You're just completely detaching, let it go to God, do your part, and the right person will come into your life at the right time.
That's such a good example of doing your part in detaching, because it was literally no communication. It wasn't like we're on each other's social media, nothing.
He was on my social media, and he was watching my social media.
Really?
Yes, you were.
Oh, okay. Well, guys, sometimes we don't remember as much. So
us women remember everything. They're still watching. Men are still watching. Okay, don't get it twisted.
It was no contact at all.
Yeah.
And so when we were able to reconnect, and you brought up a good point. I didn't even remember that I was watching your page. But
yeah, you were. The only reason why I know that, well, one, I saw, and then two, because you can see who's watching your stories, right? But also I remember you mentioning something about that as well.
Yeah. So there we go. I was watching.
They're always watching.
And I agree with that. Men are always watching. It may not say anything, but they're always watching.
Yeah.
So we have another question that came from YouTube as well. This is from Boosted Barbie. Why do men try to kiss me on every first date? Is this something I'm doing, or is this common? You want to answer?
No, you can go, baby. From the man's perspective.
Well, first off, men are always trying you. So if men find you, I'm going to keep it simple. If men find you attractive, they're going to try to sleep with you. So men aren't necessarily trying to go through the process. Let me get to know her. Let me figure out if she has a warm spirit. No, men, if they find you attractive, they're going to start testing boundaries. So kissing you is one of the first steps that's testing the boundary to see how far they can get. Now, your response and all of that will let them know where they stand. But men, if they find you attractive, they're going to try you. And that part isn't the issue. It's more about your energy. It's more about how's the date going, where they're feeling comfortable, where they can go in for a kiss, right? All of that matters, because men aren't going to go in for a kiss unless they see an open door. Most healthy men.
Yeah. So. That's so good. So it's so important, ladies, about your energy and your energetic response. Yes. So you're still warm. Like, of course he wants to kiss me, right? So you're not triggered, but you hold your boundary, right? Like, smile in the face, like, this is not something that I do, right? And that's it. And then that way, he's going to want you even more. But if you're triggered and you got agitated, like, I don't do this. Who do you think I am? You're a creep, blah, 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 blah. And then the wall goes up, you're pushing him and all the men away.
Yes.
Okay? So how you respond is everything. And exactly what Coach B said, men are going to test.
Yeah.
That's just how they're wired. Okay.
So don't take it personal in a way that you did something wrong.
Now, if you're
necessarily.
showing up on a date with a mini skirt and the boobs are out, obviously you're giving an invitation for men to be inappropriate with you, right? You want to dress sexy, of course. You want to be, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube, but you want to dress like the way that I teach our girls to dress. We have a couple master classes called the Male Gaze in the Feminine Energy Academy. We just did one last weekend, and we did one a few weeks ago on exactly how to dress and what to do. So go and watch that. That's how you do that, okay? So you're activating his masculinity. You look like a hot, delicious snack, but he has to claim you before he gets to have a piece of you, okay?
Yeah, and men watch because that's what we do. We want to. It's like we're making sure the coast is clear. We're making sure this is worth us going over there. So we're watching. Even when I watched her, as she brought it up, I was watching to see how she was moving. I was watching to see, okay, is she in a relationship? All of this stuff. Because you don't want to just go in not knowing what's out there. That's why even in battle, it's like you send people to go check out the scene. Go see what's there. Is the coast clear? Once the coast is clear, then we come in and now that allows us to come in the right way instead of just coming in and it's like, no, you could have, if you would have known this, you could have just come at her differently, which could have changed everything. So,
and I also want to mention something before we get to more of these questions. I saw yesterday on YouTube, there was a video, and I'm not going to call the girl out because I don't do that with women on social media, but I'll say in general, because I've seen a lot of these TikToks, these YouTube videos of girls talking about how hard life is because they're so pretty and no man wants to approach you. And that is so not true.
Not at all.
It is not true, ladies. You are not so pretty or so strong that men don't want to approach you and you're intimidating. It's because you're not giving off signals of approachability. That's it. This is well researched. Okay? So it doesn't matter if you're a 10 out of 10, you're a dime supermodel, or you're a 5 out of 10, whatever. It's the energy that you give off. When your energy is warm, you're smiling, you have eye contact, your body language is just open. Just even how you're dressing, how you're moving. When your energy is open and warm, people are going to approach you. And all the girls in the Feminine Energy Academy know this because they have now the opposite problem where so many men are approaching them. I even saw a girl that was watching one of our YouTube videos. She was like, I've been doing what you've been telling us to do. And she's like, this week I had 3 guys come up and hit on me. And I haven't been hit on in 3 months. Okay? So I'm telling you, babe, men are not intimidated of you. You're not so pretty that men don't want to, they don't want to approach you, or you're not so unattractive that men don't want to approach you. It's the energy that you are giving off. That's it. That's all it is.
And this next question is from Dina, who's in the community. She said, I've been in a relationship for 9 years.
Okay.
And live together.
Okay.
My timeline to get married is the end of this year or I'm moving on.
Good.
No sex until marriage. I want what I deserve. Surrender to God. If it wasn't for the Feminine Energy Academy, I would have not grown as a person.
Yes. And Dina, thank you for saying this because, ladies, it's never too late. It's never too late. You never dig yourself so deep in a hole that you can't get out of it with the grace of God. That's what grace is for. So even if you've been in a 9-year-long relationship, living with a guy, have his children, whatever, you can still decide to do things differently. But the biggest thing is, like what Dina said, is you need that support because it's going to be really challenging, especially if you're living with a guy, you're sleeping with a guy. You need to have another voice in your head.
Yes.
And for a lot of, because you're going to feel confused and hard and you're going to hear from him. So that's why in the Feminine Energy Academy, we have audios that you literally brainwash yourself, rewire your nervous system so you can actually have the strength to hold your boundary because, and it does get easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's so key. I know we had something from S-Star. Thank you, wonderful couple. Do you feel like there's a fine line between dressing nice and looking too dressed up, makeup for a guy to approach? If I dress up, they will be too scared to approach.
Okay, give the man response, and I'll give him my response.
Well, it's definitely, I don't know if it's a fine line between dressing nice, because dressing nice can look a lot of different ways. and looking too dressed up. Dressing appropriate is maybe a way that you want to look at it. If you're going to the grocery store, then you don't have to dress up. You can dress in some jeans or whatever's comfortable. But always, this is what you always need to know, that you always have to stay ready. So if you stay
Yes.
ready, you don't have to get ready. So even dressing down, you still have your hair done, you have a little touch of makeup on, you're still ready just in case that opportunity comes. And that can be any type of opportunity. Someone can come up and offer you a job, they can want you to model, they can want to be in a relationship with you. So you always dress ready, but you want to make sure that you're doing your makeup and all of that stuff based on your skin, your face. So it's not what she does as my wife isn't the same that you should do. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to do what this person does, but being appropriate, because guys, even though most guys say they don't like makeup, and I was one of those guys before as well, it's really just having the makeup on that fits you, not overdoing it, not trying to look like someone else, but a touch of makeup here. Some women may need more foundation, some may need to wear lipstick. Whatever it is for you, making it appropriate is what men like, and something that even when you take it off, you're not another person. It's like, okay, she looked great with her makeup on, then she took it off. She's unrecognizable. Couldn't recognize her in a lineup. You don't want that. You want something that fits you. So just play around with it and see what you like. But don't overthink, like, okay, how should I dress here? How should I dress there? Comfortable, always be ready. Dress appropriate to the situation.
Yes. And like what you always say, men are going to show you.
Yes.
Right? Like test, play around with it, babe. And the biggest thing too, like, yes, you want to have a little bit of makeup. You don't have to be full glam,
Yes.
but you want to have a little bit of makeup on for sure. But really play around with hairstyles. Hairstyles and how you dress and your body shape, those are the biggest things when it comes to the masculine gaze. Okay, that will trigger them in a healthy way where they're super attracted to you. I always tell women this. It doesn't matter if your clothes are from Target and Walmart. I would rather you put your money towards your weight loss, your hormones, your hair, your skin, makeup versus wearing name brands. You do not need to wear name brand clothes. Men do not care about that. They care about your body shape. They care about your hair, and they care about your skin. It doesn't matter if your hair is straight, curly, dreadlocks. That part doesn't matter at all with the masculine, but they subconsciously want feminine. Feminine is the opposite of masculine. So that's long, that's flowy. You got to be a little bit extra, ladies. You want to be a pattern interrupt when you're walking around. You got to be a little bit extra, So
yeah, and men aren't looking for other men.
Yeah.
Men are looking for women that are in their feminine, in the way that they carry themselves, and then dress and look soft, right?
Yes.
So looking soft is key. And again, it's not a certain outfit you need to wear or anything like that, but it's making sure that you're in your soft energy. And the guys recognize energy after. First, they have to be attracted to you. Then they recognize your energy, and then they approach you. So just keep it simple with guys. Guys aren't overthinking. Guys aren't sitting around writing a list of what most guys
yeah.
of what they desire.
Yeah.
If you ask most guys what they desire, they couldn't even tell you.
Yeah.
So don't overdo it. They'll know when they see it.
Yeah, exactly. And when he's talking about soft energy, he's talking about smiling, right? Like your energy is warm and soft, right? And exactly, even if you're wearing tights and a sweater, guys can still approach you, right? It's all about your energy. And the most important reason why this is so important to attract the right man, it's not because you necessarily desire men to come and approach you, but you feel good.
Yes.
So when you feel good as a woman, that's what makes you magnetic. That right there is what makes you magnetic to the right guy, because you're valuing yourself. You're like, I am so worth it that I'm worthy to get my hair done. I'm worthy, even if you have to DIY it right now because money right now. That's okay. You got to DIY your nails. You got to DIY your hair. There's some cute clothes at Target and Walmart, but you rock it like you are an expensive, hot, rich wife, and you work out, you take care of your body. Then you are going to be so magnetic to even very, very wealthy men, because they don't care about those things.
That's getting us right into the next question.
Yeah.
Doce or Dosey
Yeah.
asks, do men really care about women's careers?
No.
Exactly.
Okay, there you go. Go, baby.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
Men care that you have things going on in your life. Men
Yeah.
care that you're not just sitting around waiting on a handout or sitting around just taking care of your kids but don't have a life. So men care that you're active, maybe you volunteer, maybe you're doing some stuff that you really enjoy, but men don't care if you're a CEO of a company or if you work at McDonald's. Men don't care.
Yeah. And so what sometimes will happen, and we're talking about masculine energy men. This is not all men. Okay. So if a man is really wounded and he's not in his provider energy, he's going to expect you to work just as hard as him, pay for bills, all that stuff. That's okay. That's not who you want to be with. I mean, if you want to, you can, whatever. But a man that's more in his provider energy, like he has enough to provide for you guys, take care of, he's going to take care of the finances, or at least the majority of the finances, right? Something like that. Those types of men are looking at, how does this woman benefit me? How does she benefit me? And it's not coming from a bad place. It's coming from a genuine question.
Yes.
Because high value men have options. Right? So, and you have to be able to give him something that he can't give himself, which is feminine energy, right? Your ability to take him out of his head into his body, your ability to help him feel good, right? And I'm not talking about sexually, I'm just talking about just being in your presence. He feels at peace in your presence. Here's a huge one. He sees how you can help him build up his vision, his empire. And it could just be that he wants you by his side. It's not necessarily that you have to do something specific. It could just be that you believe in him.
Yes.
You see the greatness in him, right? He just feels manly, like he can conquer the world in your presence because you don't judge him, that you're just looking at him with eyes of admiration. This is what men deeply crave, that, and they will never tell you that, ever tell you that.
And men always look at everything as an investment. So him investing in you, and not like he's paying for you, but investing as in his time, his energy, his resources, how does that benefit him? Investing. And it's the same when men are men are investing money or investing their time in other things. They're not going to give too much of it, or they're going to pull back on their investment if it's not benefiting them. If you're investing in another business and you see the business continue to lose money and you don't see any forecast of things getting better, you're going to pull your investment back. So understanding that men are looking to see how you're going to add to them, and they're looking at, is this investment of my time, energy, and resources worth it? If it is, men will invest everything. They'll go all in on the right situation, on the right person, but they want to make sure. That's why they're looking. They're just making sure that this person is the right one before they go all in.
Oh, that's so good. And also, I just want to clarify too, it's okay if you're an ambitious woman, right? Boss babe, like me. Like, I'm definitely a very ambitious person, built a business before we even came together. But your feminine intelligence is your ability to not lead with that. It's your ability to be led. And not coming at him from a place of competition, from a place of one-upping him. Like, allow him to impress you. Even if his business is smaller than yours, or you think you have a better job than he has, never be competitive with him. Build him up, because what will naturally happen is that's going to activate that masculine provider energy where, like, I want to take care of this girl, you know? And then for us as women, it's not that we don't want to work. We just don't want to have to work. Right? There's a big difference between, if I don't work, our bills aren't going to get paid and we're not going to eat, versus I get to work because I get to work, right? So it's a completely different energy.
That's so true. So I was looking through, definitely keep asking these questions, because these questions are what changes your perspective even moving forward. So it can even put you in position, getting some of these answers of understanding the male, understanding how he thinks, understanding what you need to do to position yourself. Just small adjustments like this help position you to be in that relationship or to get that dream business, whatever you desire.
Exactly.
We have another question here.
Loving these questions, ladies.
Well, this is more of a statement. Traditional couple, excellent. So trust me, and jump in the Feminine Energy Academy as well, where we have these conversations daily. It's our social media platform, basically, where we just get to discuss our relationships, get to discuss where we are, And also a safe place for the ladies. Sometimes you just need to vent. You just need to say what's on your heart so you can get those answers. So it's a safe place for that as well.
Yeah, that's so, so good. Yeah, and like I said, on this Saturday, we're going to be bringing on one of the girls that just got engaged. We'll talk about the dating app she used. We'll talk about how she optimized her dating profile. She's a Caribbean gal,
Yes.
right? She's from the Caribbean. So she met her husband in the US. She's going to be moving. So another international relationship like us
Yes.
and like a lot of the women that I've coached that are now married. And we're going to be talking about rotational dating. We're going to be talking about probably the biggest thing is just communicating and the energy work that women need to do behind the scenes to decide that they are the type of woman that men want to marry and spoil.
Yes.
So, so important.
Yes.
So, and yeah, do you girls have any other questions before we log off here? Because we're getting ready to go on a trip this week.
Yes.
I'm excited
yes,
for that.
Definitely. But we'll still be on Friday as well from our location. So
It was let that one slip.
Yeah, so we'll be on from location Friday as well, same time.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right, ladies, we love you so much. If you're watching the replay and you have questions, comment the questions below because we actually have been going through and looking at your girls' questions, and then we're going to start answering more of them on these live streams as well. Hey, from London, what's up?
Yes.
Okay. My ex married my best friend. Okay. Well, you need healing there, babe. Okay. All right. Love you guys. Have an amazing day.